Good morning, YouTube. It is 10 a.m. in the great state of Texas. And what are we doing today? Probably the best bowl that I have ever made, or one of the best bowls I've ever made. So we're taking blue, we're taking some purple, we're taking some white pigment. We're going to add it together. We're going to throw it in the pressure pot for 4.5 hours. Not a very large bowl, admittingly. However, the end project is going to look amazing. So this is probably not the best project I've ever done, but at least from a color scheme, it looks absolutely fantastic. So obviously here we're using our East Coast resin, taking the blue, taking the purple, taking the white pigment. Gonna add that all together, give it a good mix, give it a good stir, and then we're gonna put it in the pressure pot for 4.5 hours, and already the color looks amazing. I've done some purple and blue projects in the past, but I gotta say, this one is gonna turn out amazing, and as you saw from the thumbnail, it's gonna look absolutely fantastic. So we did this project back in June. I'm doing the commentary here in July of 2022. You guys are watching this in January of 2023. Don't know where I'm going to be in January of 2023 due to work and all kinds of crazy stuff that are going on in my life, but we're cranking out these videos. So here we are, got it all in there, and you can see it's a little bit shallow. It doesn't totally go to the top. 4.5 hours later in the pressure pot, boom, where did all this red come from? So what you didn't see, unfortunately, is you could see where the purple level was, and I was like, this is too shallow. Went back, added it 2 more times, put a red and a clear pink epoxy in there, and 4.5 hours later did this 3 times, put it in the pressure pot 3 different times, got this really cool like mixture of colors, and I absolutely love it, and it's going to turn out amazing. So here we go, going to get this set up, put it on the lathe, and get it turned down. So waste block like we typically do, don't be stingy with your hot glue. I'm going to get that attached, boom, flip that over, press that down, make sure to get all of the edges. My hot glue gun is probably my favorite tool. I think I say that in pretty much every video, but this one, I really mean it. So getting that all edged up, and then we're going to go ahead and screw on the faceplate with our Ryobi drill. Make sure to wear gloves because the epoxy is sharp and will cut your fingers off. It might not cut your fingers off, but it would definitely, it's going to cut it. It's going to cut your fingers because that's happened to me in the past. So make sure that's attached. You can see where the wood is already cracked, so we just come back, hit it with some hot glue, get that all done up. Boom, there it is. Let that set up, and now we're going to throw it on our Nova Comet 2 lathe. And I can feel it on the lathe. I've done so many projects. I've had this lathe for almost 4 years, and I can already tell it's probably on its last legs, unfortunately. But we're still going strong, so we're going to keep doing it. So here we are getting the superficial layer off, and you can already see we're getting really good ribbons. You can see them just flying all over the place. Everything's getting nice and leveled. Coming back, look at the bird's nest there for those shavings. Absolutely gorgeous. So always a good thing when that happens. Hitting it with a medium-sized chisel right then and there, and then we're coming back with our round carbide tool and just shaving that down, getting everything nice and even, making sure that everything is nice and flush before we flip it over on the chuck. And that didn't take too incredibly long. Working the bottom, I really like that piece of, if you saw in the beginning, that was a new piece of a, whatchamacallit, Tupperware that I used. Really like the shape of that bowl. Got to go back to the dollar store and pick another one of those up. But this did not take very long. Not a lot of issues or concerns with this. So now we're going to go back, hit it with the mortise using the parting tool here. Just making sure that we get to a nice depth. Then we're going to hit it with a smaller square carbide tool. Get everything nice, even, and flush like we typically will do. Not a lot of issues here, at least from what I can remember. I tried to do the commentary for this video like a couple of weeks back, but man, work has just been so crazy and just so all over the place that I wasn't motivated to do it. So feeling a little bit more motivated this morning. Obviously, it's actually 4 o'clock in the morning right now when I'm doing this commentary, and it's just I'm working on another project, so I had to come back and do the commentary for this one before we moved on to the next one. So here we are, just sizing up the mortise. Got that on the chuck to a good size. Now we're just taking this off. Ryobi drill again, and boom, it looks nice and flush and even. And now we're ready to get that waste block off. And typically what you guys have seen me do in the past is just take chisels to it and just waste it. And here I am on the floor over here like a savage. You can tell how professional I am. Boom, just pops right off. I feel like that was just an easier way to do that. So works just as good. We just throw that scrap piece away. So now we got it onto the lathe, and now we are going to just basically take that superficial glue off the front of it, make sure there's a nice flush base, and then we'll come back and start the actual gouging portion of it. And we just refine the edges a little bit with a round carbide tool, just making sure everything is nice and, you know, get all these little chips and everything out of it before we actually start the gouging process here. And then we remove the tailstock, come back again, hit it with a square carbide tool, and then we're just going to go back and forth with that until we get that done. So really enjoyed this one. It's gonna, you know, I hate sanding, but the sanding portion of this really is what makes this project. So like I said, we did this last month in June, and it's actually hotter now in July of 2022 than it was in June of 2022. And it's just, you're going to see here, we're about to melt this epoxy. It's just hot. But we're getting through the epoxy really well, really easy. The problem is that it's so hot that, like, the chuck, it's like molding around it. So it's actually loosening this up. And I discovered that during my last project. So I'm having to, like, stop the video, go back and forth, come back, get everything retightened down. But it's hard to do when the epoxy is so soft, because it's not like in the wintertime when it's hardened. It's a little bit more flexible. So here we are, just gouging it out to a nice depth, coming back, hitting it with a round carbide tool, using the medium and the large, and then we're going to come back and hit it again with the square carbide tool, and just trying to get to a nice depth as much as possible before we actually start the sanding process here. So by this point, I'm pretty happy with where we're at. And then here in a little bit, you're going to see just how much. Actually, I don't even know if I showed the actual, like, malformation of this by squeezing the lip sides, but we'll see here in a little bit. It's been a little while since I've watched this actual video, unfortunately. So getting a nice feel for it, pretty happy with where it's at. And then, of course, never happy altogether, coming back and doing more refined work, more edging, getting just a little bit deeper. And let's see if I'm happy there. Yeah, pretty good. So here's the mess from one small little bowl, but you can see the really cool colors in it. And I always love doing the epoxy shavings and seeing all the cool colors that kind of come with that. Really good shavings, that's always a good thing. So I'll have to get that cleaned up, obviously. But bowl's gouged out, so now we can start the actual sanding process here in just a little bit. Boom. So now we are sanding, going from 340 all the way up to 1500, and then we come back and hit it with a micro mesh. It's actually during the sanding part that I noticed that the epoxy had softened, or softened. Sorry, can't talk. But here we are, just sanding, because I love sanding, obviously. Actually, wet sanding I don't mind so much. It's the dry sanding that gets to me a little bit. So here we are. I think this is the part where I show the actual melting portion of it. Yeah, I think this is the part. Watch this. Give it a good squeeze. Epoxy is not supposed to do that. And I set this epoxy up for like 3 or 4 days. And it's so hot in the garage. It just melts. Yeah, but the good news is if you turn back on the lathe and go back to sanding it, it goes back to its normal shape. So the wet sanding definitely helps cool down the epoxy. So we got that all done, taken care of. Then we're going to come back, hit it with the wood wax, and then we will be done. Boom, there's the wood wax. Don't be stingy with it. Make that nice shine and pop. You can see the glitter in it. It looks absolutely gorgeous. So hope you guys liked the video. Hope you guys got something out of it. Again, you guys are watching this in January of 2023. Finished this in June of 2022. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff that I always say. Hopefully, you guys are doing well out there and having a good 2023. And look at the colors. Looks gorgeous. Absolutely love it. So don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, like it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace. Okay, so the project is done, and this one looks absolutely gorgeous. The colors on this are absolutely amazing. So you didn't get to see it, and I'm sure I went through in the commentary. It was a little shallower, so I went back and added 2 other colors, like a lighter purple blue with some red, and you can see that in the rim. It looks fucking amazing. Look at that color. And obviously you saw it's still hot as shit here in Texas. It's like 1:30 in the morning, June 17th. You guys are watching this in January, so it's probably super cold right now. But man, this looks absolutely gorgeous. This is gorgeous. I'm gonna do this again and do the top layer where it's like just mixed and matched like that. The colors and the sparkles and the glitter are just freaking fantastic. The wood wax just makes this thing pop so well. So hope you guys like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. I don't know where I am in January of 2022 or 2023 because it's June of 2022 now. You guys are watching this in 2023 of January. So work stuff is kind of complicated and fluid right now, so that's why I'm trying to put all these videos ahead, because I have no idea. I imagine probably the next series of videos will be like that. So we're just getting the projects done, just growing the channel. You know what I'm trying to do. So hope you liked it. Hope you got something out of it. Absolutely stunning bowl. Stunning project. So I'll check you guys out in the next one. All right. Peace.